Bootcamp. Take Jack 1.
I'm Jack Shedd. I'm one of the co-founders of MESS.
I'm Jeff, and I am the interactive director at MESS.
Hey, I'm Marie Claire. I'm a junior web developer at MESS.
Hi, I'm Mary Alice. I handle human resources here at MESS.
And I'm still Jack, and we are in the active process of looking for a new junior developer here at MESS.
Time and time again, after the interviews, I've heard the developers say, gosh, these boot camps are teaching them the wrong thing. And I thought it'd be a really good idea to have a conversation and talk to everybody about what it is that is actually applicable to a junior dev role in an agency our size.
Hey, it's Ernest. Listen, jargon alert for this video is suspended. We're talking about real terms that are used in the world of web programming, so that means there's going to be a lot of jargon, but it's more like industry lingo, so just take that with a grain of salt. Bye.
So let's start by just asking, what does MESS look for in a junior developer? The most important thing when I'm looking at any developer that's coming into the room is, does this person have a sense of exploration and self-motivation?
The first one, in my opinion, is curiosity. You want to be constantly wanting to learn more about how something is done. You know, if you see something cool on a website, like you look into the code and see what they're doing. Or if you want the curiosity to know how to do something better, if you've done it a million times, like what's a way that performs better, or what's a way that is faster, easier to maintain, that kind of thing.
Core skills, dev needs to work at MESS. Being a team player, willing to step in and support your fellow dev team members if anything comes up and we need more hands on deck. No egos, which should apply to any work environment in an ideal world. But yeah, it just makes people more goal-oriented, more productive, and more pleasant.
Most of our tests aren't really testing for a specific right answer. We're looking for, do you have a variety of answers to give? Being able to solve a problem in multiple ways means having exposure and understanding of a lot of different technologies.
Technology is constantly changing. The techniques and the tools that we're using are constantly changing. So being able to say like, oh, this doesn't work across browsers, what's a different approach? Or we're using this new tool, in what way can I adapt?
All right, so skills I wish I had learned at boot camp. How things work, why they work, not just this block of code works, but knowing how things are happening under the hood, learning about the browser engine, JavaScript engine, rendering engines.
Dev Bootcamps are designed to teach you a specific technology to the point where the bootcamp believes you can get hired. They show you how to build a website in what we call a stack, so some combination of all these different technologies.
There's not enough emphasis on the basics, like vanilla JavaScript, like no jQuery, no frameworks, just vanilla, DOM manipulation and for loops and all that.
So I don't care if you know Node, because Node is just one specific implementation of JavaScript. I don't care that you know Bootstrap, because Bootstrap is just one specific implementation of HTML and CSS. I care that you know JavaScript, I care that you know HTML, and I care that you know CSS. I can teach you, or you can learn on the job, any of these specific technologies.
I would say skip the jQuery, learn vanilla JavaScript a little bit better. I find that way more useful.
Instead of using a framework like Bootstrap or any of the other popular frameworks out there, just writing raw SCSS and creating your own styles and working from the ground up, as opposed to working from a place where you have all this overhead.
What would my dream boot camp teach, skills-wise? I would have loved to learn some Python. I could have done without the Ruby and Sinatra. No offense to Ruby lovers.
They don't need to learn, Bootstrap templating and that kind of stuff. They need to learn what the underlying concepts are behind that framework and what problems that framework is solving.
What a good boot camp, I think, would teach a student would be, one, how does HTTP work? That's the fundamental building block of the web. 2, how does HTML work? Not hard, you can cover it in a day. 3, how does CSS work, and how specifically does layout in CSS work? This is something that a lot of bootcamp kids struggle with because they're taught Bootstrap. They don't actually get how the box model interacts with the web browser and how resizing works. They just know that if I want to do something, I copy and paste something from Bootstrap and it'll solve the problem for me. No, you need to know the fundamentals of CSS and layout. And finally, I would want them to teach a programming language completely. Not a bunch of different programming languages in this really shallow, stack-specific way, but teach them JavaScript. Teach them everything you can about JavaScript in the time allotted, because that teaches them the fundamentals of programming. CSS, HTML, HTTP, and then some back-end or front-end language.
Yeah, more emphasis on the basics, less on these like larger complex systems.
And it doesn't have to be like super in-depth. At the end of the day, nothing we do in Dev Bootcamp is super in-depth. It can't be for the sake of time. So even just touching on some of these issues that were never mentioned at all, certain concepts, would be awesome. Sometimes just a matter of a couple days, and that's plenty just to get the ball rolling.